The throne room of the hegemony stretched impossibly vast, its crystalline walls reflecting the light of 1,000 conquered suns. At its center, on a throne made from the compressed core of a dead star, sat humanity's unlikely savior, and the galaxy's most feared ruler. Emily Rodriguez had once been Specimen 2847C. The Zorathi ambassadors approached, their tentacled forms trembling with each movement. They had ruled this empire for 10,000 years before she arrived. Now they came as supplicants to their own throne. "Your Eminence," the lead ambassador's translator gurgled. "The outer colonies report full compliance with the new protocols. The liberation fleets have reached the Sagittarius Arm." Emily's scarred fingers drummed against the throne's armrest. Each tap sent ripples through the room's gravity field, a reminder of what the Zorathi's experiments had created. "And the research facilities? All decommissioned as you commanded. The subjects have been freed and offered rehabilitation." "Good." Her voice carried an edge that made hardened warriors step back. "Leave me." As the ambassadors scurried away, Emily closed her eyes and remembered. 5 years ago, she'd been a colonist on New Tasmania, a teacher managing 30 boisterous 8-year-olds. The Zorathi had come in the night, their harvest ships blotting out stars. They took humans like grocery shopping, selecting for genetic diversity, age, health. Emily had fought, broken a harvester's sensory appendage before the stun fields dropped her. She'd awakened in Laboratory 7, one of 50 humans selected for Project Ascension. The Zorathi, in their arrogance, sought to create the perfect soldier-slave hybrid. They subjected their specimens to genetic modification, neural reconditioning, nanite infusion, quantum field manipulation. The screaming had lasted months. Of the 50, 43 died in the first phase. The Zorathi scientists hadn't understood human neurology, not truly. They saw our redundant neural pathways as inefficiency, our emotional responses as weakness. They tried to burn both away, reshape humans into living weapons with absolute loyalty programming. But human brains were shaped by evolution's cruelest joke. A species smart enough to comprehend its own mortality, forced to live with that knowledge daily. That existential flexibility, that cognitive dissonance that let humans believe 6 impossible things before breakfast, proved impossible to completely overwrite. Emily had been the last attempt. Previous subjects had died or gone catatonic when the modifications reached critical mass. But Emily held on through willpower born of pure spite. Every augmentation meant to break her, she absorbed. Every attempt to rewrite her mind, she compartmentalized. The Zorathi made her stronger, faster, able to manipulate gravitational fields with thought alone. They gave her access to their quantum combat networks, believing their loyalty protocols were absolute. They were wrong. The rebellion had taken 17 hours. Emily had started by freeing the 12 surviving subjects from earlier phases. Together, they'd turned Laboratory 7 into a fortress. When Zorathi security forces arrived, they faced humans who could predict their movements through quantum probability, who could turn their own weapons' energy signatures against them. But it was what happened next that broke the hegemony. Emily had uploaded herself into their communication network during the battle, not just hacking it but existing within it, her consciousness spreading through quantum entanglement to every Zorathi system simultaneously. She'd found their deepest secret. The Zorathi were dying. A genetic bottleneck from millennia of cloning had left them sterile. They'd been harvesting other species searching for a cure. She'd offered them a choice. Surrender the empire to their former subjects, or she would release the location of their homeworld to every species they'd ever wronged. The Zorathi chose survival. Now, 3 years into her reign, Emily had transformed their empire. Former subject species were granted autonomy. The vast resources once used for conquest were redirected to reconstruction. The harvest fleets became evacuation vessels, saving populations from dying worlds. Her fellow survivors served as her counsel. Marcus, who could interface directly with any technology, managed infrastructure. Anna, whose modifications let her process millions of data streams simultaneously, handled intelligence. David, who'd gained perfect biochemical manipulation, led medical rehabilitation for other test subjects across the galaxy. They'd offered to reverse Emily's modifications once. She'd refused. The scars, external and internal, were reminders. The power was a tool. The door chimed. Her next appointment. Representatives from Earth, finally located after years of searching. They'd come to thank her, perhaps to offer her a place home. Emily stood, her augmented muscles moving with inhuman grace. Home was 8-year-olds learning multiplication. Home was morning coffee and complaining about parking. Home was gone, but she'd build something better. Not as Emily Rodriguez, the teacher. As Emperor Rodriguez, the woman who'd turned an empire built on suffering into the galaxy's greatest force for protection. She was their last test subject. Now she was their last emperor. And she would make sure she truly was the last.